just atrocious against Freeze Mage, though. But you know, it's got a few good matchups in the midst, and we're gonna start off with the one bad matchup for Rogue. So most likely Pavel not gonna be taking this one, and GeorgeC will kind of get himself on the board and start trying to get back on the reverse sweep train. But hopefully Pavel, you know, doesn't get too shooken up by it, realize it's a bad matchup, maybe takes a little bit of extra risks since it's a bad matchup. And
don't be so negative, Firebat. The game's not over yet. It's only just started. Come on.
You have to have that sort of mindset when you get into a bad matchup. It's like, I need to take a little bit of extra risks. I know that the win rates in this matchup are like 70-30 in favor of the Freeze Mage. If I have the ability to make a big Edwin and YOLO it, let's YOLO it. Let's go ham.
Yeah, I completely agree. And talking of risk, Servant of Yogg-Saron is in hand. And you know what? The only time I've ever played that card, it's Starfalled itself. So I paid 5 mana to pass a turn, and it felt very bad. So I've never touched that card since, but we'll see if Pavel has a little bit better luck. It can do incredible things, to be fair. So it could be a huge impact. And as you said, maybe not a decided risk by Pavel to getting this card, of course. He did get it from the Swashbuckler. But this could be this could be something that can actually get him ahead somehow. So we'll see how it pans out. GeorgeC just doing the usual Freeze Mage things of playing Acolyte and drawing cards.
So, yeah, maybe you just save it for Flare. Can it cast Flare?
No, it's 5 mana.
Oh, only 5 mana spells.
Yeah.
I don't even know the card.
Yeah, don't play it. I don't recommend it. I've not had a good win rate with that card of my 1 game, 1 loss.
Sure. So maybe it gets a Nourish, though. Just ramps you up in mana. Just takes the game by storm. You just turn into that Rogue Druid hybrid.
I hope he just slams it on 5.
I hope
just
so
to be like, you know what? I've got it. Let's see what you can do. He has a lot of games to be able to take 1 win. Oh, it's 5 or less. You can.
I knew what I was talking about.
Dude, no, don't give me that.
Come
right?
on,
You had no clue.
I knew
You had
what
no
I was
clue. The second
about.
I said it's 5 mana, you just believed me.
Well,
so.
because I don't want to make you look bad.
Guys,
I'm a nice guy.
Guys at home, don't listen to Firebat.
I'm a nice guy.
He acts like he knows what he's talking about, but it's all a facade.
He's going to cast Flare with that later on in the match. That's going to happen now.
We'll see.
The caster curse exists, man. I've said it's going to happen, and now it will. So I'm excited for that.
Okay, well, now I've shown off my lack of knowledge of certain cards. Like I said, I played it the once and was done, so that's my excuse. GeorgeC is... What does he have available?
He's got the ability to play, you know, one of these ice blocks out. You kind of have to get it out at some point. And then he can also, behind this, just play a Doomsayer and stall for a turn, or play a Novice Engineer to begin cycling.
What spell could he use from minion of Yogg-Saron? Servant, sorry, to clear the Doomsayer. Did I think of these options?
Shadow Word Pain, for example. But, you know, typically speaking, the reason why playing the Doomsayer on an empty board is so great for the Freeze Mage player against Rogue is because Rogue has this wonderful card called Sap that's able to, you know, deal with Doomsayers quite effectively in the middle of your turn when you're trying to set it up to remove minions. So oftentimes the best state to really play it in is just by itself, so it actually buys a turn instead of just getting sapped.
Yep. Not often you see the Frost Nova Doomsayer combo actually go off in this matchup at all, and both players now have quite the selection of cards. Emperor Thorson is an option, but it would only be hitting Sinister Strike. That's a lot of relevance, because this Rogue deck is a Malygos Rogue, of course. So you really want to hit at least 1 Sinister Strike, maybe an Eviscerate as well, to get those big burst turns down.
Yeah, Pavel had the opportunity there to go off with the Gadgets and Auctioneer if he wanted to. You know, he had Coin, he had Prep, he had Sinister Strike, and he could make something happen there. But I really, really like the patience by him here. Just developing the Tomb Pillager out with the SI this turn, fills out the mana curve, and enables to get him another coin for Gadgets and Auctioneer. He knows he has plenty of time in this matchup. You know, not a huge amount of time, you know, as it starts approaching, you know, turns 9 and 10 in the mana curve. But he definitely has at least 1 more turn that he can buy to get a coin. He doesn't have to worry about just overarching board state pressure.
Yeah, and something to just note as well, going back to the Rogue deck that Pavel is using, is because of the Malygos, it wouldn't be exactly the same way that Druid uses it, because Druid has a lot of additional health gain. But if Pavel just isn't pressured enough early, he can actually just drop Malygos on the turn. And he doesn't have to kill him. He can just drop it, maybe proc a block, and not worry about Malygos dying, because Freeze Mage just doesn't deal with high health minions very well, hence why Ragnaros is so powerful also.
Yeah, exactly. You know, what will GeorgeC would have to, like, double Fireball it.
Yeah, which then you just kind of lose anyway.
How do you win the game then? It's so much harder to collect all the burn necessary to kind of finish out the game, so... The prep, not able to find anything worth prepping. He could prep the Sinister Strike. Oh, he's going to go for it. This likely indicates that he wants to just be dropping Malagos next turn, like you had said.
Yeah, and he's gone straight into the second Sinister Strike as well. So even though he used one, he has another one available. So that's definitely nice for Pavel. He's got so much burst. And you know what? GeorgeC, for a freeze mage, is relatively low on cards at this point. So it's not like he's close to piecing together the Alexstrasza into finishing combo.
So much burn.
Yeah, well, he has the damage aspect, but no Alexstrasza. And also, it's at least an additional turn till Alexstrasza is going to come down anyway.
Yeah. And he's got Blizzard, and he's got Frostbolt if he wants it, or the Ice Lance if he wants it to maybe try and clean up Gadgets and Auctioneer. Or he could potentially even just ignore the Gadgets and Auctioneer and let the Rogue have cards.
Yeah, do you think you just need Ice Lance to combine it with Frostbolt to actually kill your opponent if you survive that long? Or are you going to...
It is a nice option to have. At the moment, the way George's hand is looking is if he's able to find Emperor Thorsan or if he's able to find Alexstrasza, he wins the game. So he's doubling his outs for ways so that he can kind of piece together the damage to burst down his opponent. Because if you count it all up, he's getting pretty close there with the amount of damage he has in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, for 10 mana, he has the damage, right?
Yeah.
To kill him from Alexstrasza. So he does have it available. But this is the turn I half mentioned earlier where Malagos is just playable versus Mage. There's no versus Freeze Mage at least. There's no real punish. You're gonna get the spell power, and now we're just gonna see how much value Pavel's gonna get out of this guy. Just have Sinister Strike available, but nothing else. Oh, hang on a minute. The Servant of Yogg.
Yeah, the Servant of Yogg-Saron could cast a spell on the face.
Fireball face.
Could Fireball face for 11 damage. So
it could also polymorph his Malagos.
It could also polymorph his Malagos. There's a lot of variables at work there. So some good, some bad.
Big Van Cleef.
Yeah, the 1/1, just massive.
Yeah, this is when you wish you were in Shadow Step.
I'm digging the sap to just get rid of the Accolade of Pain without giving your opponents additional cards, because it's kind of a race against the clock now, because if your opponent's able to play Alexstrasza on you before you pop the block, you're dead.
In trouble. Yeah,
but if you're able to pop the block before they can play Alexstrasza, you win. And you know GeorgeC doesn't have Alexstrasza because he would have just played Alexstrasza last turn and then killed you if he had it. So he's missing some of the pieces to the puzzle still, and you want to try and keep him away from finding them. Yeah,
and just getting the Sinister Strike in there for Pavel, because why not? So it can only go face. It's always going face, and you have Malagos on board, as well as the Thanos for an extra +1. So GeorgeC's going to cycle and try and just do something to deal with this board, because now even just the minion pressure is actually pretty heavy. Even though it doesn't look too big on the board itself, there's what?
Emperor Thorsan isn't a terrible pickup. If he's able to get an Emperor Thorsan and the Emperor Thorsan proc here isn't bad. It's just not fantastic. He's reducing a lot of the card draw cards to be able to more fluidly cycle cards. He also reduces a bunch of cards for the Kobold Geomancer. So our evolved Kobold. So
I thought you knew the cards, Firebat.
Oh, okay.
I thought you knew all the cards. Come on.
So if he were to get all of these spells discounted, it would be 3, 4, 5, 6 mana to play it. So he could play all of these spells with the evolved Kobold if he wanted to.
Yeah, he's just going to go for the torch, start doing the damage. He realizes he does not have the time to try and cycle into Alexstrasza. The block is getting procced next turn.
Yeah, and he doesn't have enough damage quite yet.
It's his assumption anyway. Yeah.
He has 13 damage in hand. If he's able to pick up the evolved Kobold, he can't actually play all of it with it unless he gets an Emperor discount. So he could go Emperor and Ice Block after his block gets popped, getting an Emperor discount, and then being able to play everything with the evolved Kobold. Currently, 13 damage. Evolved Kobold would be the same thing as drawing another Fireball, so it only adds, 6 damage to the midst there and bring him up to 19. So the max he can get off of one draw is 19, so he needs to have it like a 2-card combo of things coming together here.
Pyroblast.
Well, there's the evolved Kobold, so if he's able to find another Fireball, he can make something happen.
What?
Double Servant of Yogg-Saron.
Play them both, Pavel. Next turn, that's what you got to do to win this game. Is he actually can't prot the block this turn, which is huge. And GeorgeC deciding to go aggressive, and he's going to be rewarded. He's going to buy himself enough time to try and make the play to win this game. Yeah,
he's going to be able to cycle more cards and then get the Emperor discount and put up the second Ice Block and then try and go for a big OTK finish.
Yeah, and GeorgeC knows that there's no spells in Pavel's hand that can do any damage because they just would have been used to prop the block, so he knows. So suddenly, Frost Nova it's actually a good play to stop the minion damage, and he might survive another turn without proccing the block, which is massive.
Yeah. First off, definitely start with the Acolyte of Pain plus the ping. Try and see if you can string something together here and just do all of the card draw possible this turn. And if you're able to get another burn spell, then you've really locked things up for yourself there.
Yeah, so much damage available because of that Evolved Kobold, giving +2 spell damage. It's kind of huge. Makes this Mage list particularly scary.
So he needs either an Ice Lance, a Frostbolt, a Fireball, a Roaring Torch, or a Forgotten Torch here.
Ice Lance.
Ice Lance, that'll do it. So GeorgeC now, if you count up the damage in his hand, that's an additional 6. So he's got...
The Abyss coming just too late.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 damage in the hand of GeorgeC after the Emperor discount. So, you know, we talked about how this is kind of a bad matchup and you might need to take some risks. And maybe, you know, for Pavel, if he was
more willing to play the Servant.
More willing to play the Servant. If he played the Servant the previous turn and the Servant got a spell that with the Malagos buff popped the block, that would have been 1 turn faster.
Yeah.
And that could have actually been the turn he needed to win the game. What are the odds that he pops the block compared to what are the odds that GeorgeC finds the burn? The odds that GeorgeC finds the burn, pretty high, honestly, at this point. So I think it might have been a risk that would be worth taking. So now GeorgeC just plays Emperor Thorsan plus Ice Block and then has lethal the following turn.
Yeah, and there's not a lot Pavel can do about it. But he's got 2 chances at Flare.
He does have 2 chances at Flare.
And that's pretty much what you do, right? Yeah, that's pretty much the play.
It can still happen. The double chances at
Oh
Flare.
my god. But if this happens, I believe you've got some kind of weird power, even more so than the general caster curse.
Okay.
Because this would be incredible.
It would be definitely absolutely insane, and that would be a blowout way to finish the series with some Servant of Yogg-Saron in Rogue getting Flare.
Yep, they're angry because the boss got nerfed.
You got to go for it.
Let's see, this is tense.
This is tense.
Go for it, Pavel. Pray.
No, if he pops the block first, he can't get Flare. He needs to play the Servant of Yogg-Saron first in order to get a chance at Flare. Maybe he doesn't think he's dead.
Yeah, that's the presumption that he's fine. And there's nothing he's... Oh, he could heal. With Servant of Yogg-Saron. Healing Touch, Holy Light, for example.
Yeah.
Please play. Oh,
right,
he's going for it. Okay.
He's going for it. If he gets Flare now, though, now it'll look embarrassing. But limiting the amount of targets on the field with the backstab there to increase the odds that he heals himself is what he's going for with this line of play by removing the minions there.
Here we go. Second one. Mind Vision not going to be enough. Alex Straza not going to help him this time. And GeorgeC, it looks like he's pieced together a win in what appeared to be a very, very unfortunate position early on with that Malagos coming down for so long.
Yeah, Pavel just wasn't able to string together any spells and wasn't able to get the job done. Wasn't willing to take the risk of the Servant of Yogg. He felt like he was in a far enough ahead position that he didn't have to take that risk and kind of misjudged the situation there as GeorgeC was able to string together a